Hello and welcome. I am nationally award-winning jewelry designer Jill Maurer, and today I am talking about something that the jewelry industry would rather we not discuss, and that is cursed gems. By and large, the jewelry industry would like for you to believe that there is no such thing as a cursed gem, and there are even some people who believe this. They are few and far between. Why is that, you ask? As you are about to discover, most of them are dead now. We'll start with the Hope Diamond, whose trail of unfortunate owners is hard to deny. First known as the French Blue and coming in at over 45 carats, this diamond was mined in India. It was purchased by Frenchman Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, hope I said that right, sometime before 1668. It was sold to Louis XIV, who passed it down, and the diamond was stolen in 1792 during the French Revolution after Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were guillotined. It then reemerges in the hands of Daniel Eliasson in England in 1812. It was purchased by King George IV, but it had to be sold off after his death in 1830 in order to pay off his debts. Financial ruin continued to follow this diamond. It was purchased and sold as people paid off their debts. It wound up in the hands of Philip Hope, who gave it a name that stuck. This is where we get the Hope Diamond, but he too had to sell the diamond off to pay off his debts. Joseph Frankel and Sons purchased the diamond and again had to sell it to pay off their debts. Pierre Cartier bought the diamond in 1909 and changed the setting to sell it to Evelyn Walsh McLean. Cartier did not hide the fact that this was an unlucky diamond, but Ms. McLean informed him that unlucky things were lucky for her. This was not to be. Her son died in a car accident. Her daughter died in a suicide or drug overdose, depending on what you read. Her husband ran off with another woman and died in a sanitarium, but not before he had squandered the family fortune, including bankrupting the family paper, the Washington Post. 1 year later, Miss McLean herself passed away, and like so many before her, the diamond had to be sold off to pay off her debts. The buyer was Harry Winston, who donated it to the Smithsonian. Most people end this story by saying, the Smithsonian is still standing, it must not be unlucky. Let's look at this another way. Because the Smithsonian owns it, that means that every American owns a piece of that diamond. Together, we collectively own it. What's happened to the nation's debt in that time? Next in our list of cursed gems is the Kohinoor Diamond. Comes in at 105 carats, and it means mountain of light in Persian. This diamond changed hands and countries many times in bloody battles to acquire it. It is said that he who owns this diamond will own the world, but will also know its misfortunes. Only God or woman can wear it with impunity. It famously graced the Peacock Throne until Queen Victoria claimed it as her own after the British annexation of Punjab. The diamond was large, but it was old and it was poorly cut according to modern standards. Prince Albert found the diamond to be lackluster and had it recut. He did not live to a ripe old age, and the British Empire is not what it used to be. Heeding the ancient warning about it being bad luck for men, only female members of the British royalty have owned and worn this diamond. Queen Victoria wore the diamond in her brooch. Queen Alexandra, Queen Mary, and Queen Elizabeth each had it placed in her crown. Today, it is displayed in the Tower of London, but it seems that the battle for this diamond is not over. Afghanistan, India, Iran, and Pakistan have all laid claim to the diamond, saying that it was taken illegally. What will happen next? Number 3 on our list is the Black Prince's Ruby, and this stone has had a sordid past indeed. It is a 170 carat bright red stone, and it is about the size of an egg. The first owner was Abu Said, the Sultan of Granada, but he was killed by Pedro the Cruel, who stole it from him. But Pedro the Cruel's reign was soon challenged by his own brother, and he convinced Edward of Woodstock, also known as the Black Prince, to help him avenge his crown. To demonstrate his gratitude, Pedro the Cruel gifted the ruby to the Black Prince, who died shortly afterward from a mysterious illness. It traded hands several times, bringing with it death and mysterious disease, until it wound up in the helmet of Henry V, who suffered badly in battle. Richard III also died while wearing the Black Prince's ruby in battle. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are so many men wearing this in battle? What are they doing? Everybody's getting killed in battle and they happen to be wearing this stone. The ruby is supposed to be lucky in battle. That is what you are supposed to wear to protect you in battle. But the Black Prince's ruby had a secret. It wasn't a ruby at all. It was actually a spinel. It was set into the United Kingdom's imperial state crown in the 17th century, but it was sold shortly after by Oliver Cromwell, who had overthrown the royal army. It was later repurchased by Charles II, and as far as I know, was never worn into battle again. Next on our list is the Regent Diamond. It was mined in India about 300 years ago, but the slave who found it decided he was going to keep it for himself. He sliced a gash in his leg and he slipped the diamond inside it. That's how he smuggled it out of the mine. And his plan was to get the diamond out of India and sell it. The English captain he entrusted to get him out of India murdered him instead. And as the slave lay dying, he cursed the stone. The French regent, Philip II, purchased the stone in 1717, and it was stolen during the French Revolution. It later wound up in the hilt of the sword of the ill-fated Napoleon I. You can now see it displayed in Paris at the Louvre. Now we get to number 5. Ooh, this one's the scary one for me. It is the opal. It is every opal, and it is a specific opal. I do not own a single opal, not personally and not for my business. I will never own another opal. Opals have ping-ponged in history back and forth between being good luck or bad luck. In medieval times, people said that opals allowed witches and sorcerers to focus their energy to do harm. They were also associated with evil and hell because they looked like the eyes of cats and snakes and toads, which were thought to be evil. But there were also those who thought that the opal was very good luck. Queen Victoria loved opals and brought them back into vogue in her time. She did a lot for jewelry in her day, and bringing the opal back into favor was one of them. But the matter was settled once and for all by the Countess of Castiglione. She was said to be the most beautiful woman in all of Europe, and Queen Eugenie was jealous of her because it was rumored that Napoleon was her abject slave. The Countess was invited to all of the major functions and was said to show off her dazzling beauty by displaying her shoulders and bust. One of her admirers was the outcast Alfonso VII, and when she discovered he had a good chance of becoming the King of Spain, she agreed to help him ascend to the throne in exchange for a high position in court. But Alfonso fell in love with another woman and forgot all about her.
Big mistake.
A few months after his wedding, the jilted Countess gave Alfonso a gift of a cursed opal set in a ring. Queen Mercedes loved the ring and kept it for herself. She was dead within months. Alfonso couldn't bear to look at the ring and gave it to his grandmother. She too was dead within months. Alfonso's sister only wore it a few days before she died of a mysterious illness. He then gave it to his young sister-in-law, who was also dead within months. We'll never know if it was from grief or stubbornness, but Alfonso put the ring on himself and was dead within 24 hours. I'm telling you, stay away from opals, unless you are an October baby. October babies are said to be able to wear an opal without danger. I do love jewelry, but you have to watch out for those cursed gems. Thank you for being here with me. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe so we can be sure and see each other again. Until then.